The next committee work structure we are going to discuss is called the adapted committee work structure, which is kind of similar to the classic committee work structure. You're actually going to see that the pattern of how we structure the committee work is always similar, but there are small things that change. The first two steps of the adapted committee work structure are exactly the same as in the classic committee work structure. The first is the getting started, and the second is topic definition. So we're not gonna get into them. It starts to differ from the third step. So as you might remember, in the classic committee work structure, we had general brainstorming in the third step. But here, instead of general, we have brainstorming of a specific category or a specific problem. So what you do as a chair is ask the delegates to come up with big, like not big, but specific categories of the topic, which you would do in the topic definition, or you could come up with them on your own based on the topic question. And then basically the delegates are only allowed to brainstorm ideas on one specific part of the committee work, one specific part of the topic. So for example, if the topic was on building a river dam, for example, in Czech Republic, then one category would be economic consequences of building that river dam, and then the delegates would have to come up with ideas, with clauses only on economic consequences of building the river dam. After they are done with the brainstorming, for which they are given less time than they would be given for the general brainstorming, as it contains a smaller amount of it should contain smaller number of clauses, then you could group the clauses as well again, but in general, as you already have a specific category, grouping is usually not needed, but you still could group the ideas according to their similarity to each other if you want to. After that, we move on to the fourth part, which is discussing those ideas, discussing those clauses. And then the fifth part is phrasing. The delegates have already come up with which ideas they like the most. They phrase them. And then but what you can do, something different that you could do for this one, something that I've actually tried before, is once you are done with the problems with the introductory clauses of a certain category, instead of moving to other introductory clauses, you could already start brainstorming the operative clauses or the solutions to that specific category and that problem. So which you could actually do together with brainstorming the problems, but it's usually difficult for the delegates to come up with problems and solutions at the same time, especially considering they don't know what the other delegates are writing. Once you are done with phrasing, once you are done with that category, then you move back to step 3, which is brainstorming. But now, obviously, you choose a different category, and this way you make sure that the committee covers all the different aspects of the topic. It's also quite time efficient because it lets you as a chair realize how much you've covered, and it also helps the delegates see the bigger picture behind the topic. So if you have a big complex topic that has many different aspects, then this might be the structure you would like to use. However, something to keep in mind is that you don't necessarily have to give the same time for every single category. For example, if let's take once again the example of the river dam. Um, the economic we could have a category of like environmental issues related to the building of the river dam, and we could have I don't know, something like political issues of building the river dam at a certain place. Obviously, the environmental aspect would take more time as it is more relevant to the topic and would probably contain more issues. So you would not give the same amount of time for brainstorming the political issues and for brainstorming the environmental issues. So if you are gonna use this committee work structure, something that you have to keep in mind, or something that you could let the delegates decide, is how much time they are gonna spend on different categories.